common mistakes that I did over my estimating career and how I fixed them or how I got past those mistakes. So the very first mistake is going to be not keeping up with things, not tracking things correctly. So whatever is going, whether it's a project being due or how the length of the project or any of these, I would just not know if asked. And the way that I solved that was putting a lot of these things on my calendar and just keeping track of things that way. So whenever something would be coming up, it would give me like a day notice, a 30-minute notice, I think a 15-minute notice. And yeah, that's how things got solved on that arena. Another one would be just not remembering things in general about certain projects or what's coming up and different appointments that may be either related to a project or maybe outside of a project in the company. And one of the biggest things I was able to do about that was sticky notes. So being able to remember things, something like maybe about estimating that someone has let me know, I would write it down so I wouldn't have to keep repeatedly asking about some of the same things. And I could keep a record of my own questions, so I know what I've asked, what I haven't asked about before. So another one was not being able to accurately bid a project from either forgetting what it was that was, like let's say if I was counting something on a set of plans and not being able to remember that number at the end of it, or having an inaccurate number and having to go back through and recount everything, which of course wastes time. So and even if you're marking each one off as you go to count them, unless you're like ticking along, and even then, who knows, maybe you forget how many ticks you did, but it's pretty inaccurate to do things by hand. And so solving that, I used software to, be able to handle all that for me, to be able to remember what it was that I was taking off. And when was the last one, how many I have taken off already, all of that was being solved by using takeoff software. So definitely a great advantage there. Another one was, which not everybody's going to experience this because not everybody's going to have the project management side of things, because I've throughout my career mostly been on project management as well as estimating, not just the estimating side of things. So I trying to balance, what's going on versus what you need to estimate. And that just more came with experience, over time, being able to kind of delegate things over time. One of the times we actually got another project manager on who was strictly on project management, so I was able to kind of teach him his side of what he needed to do, and that took away a lot from my side of things. But it's definitely going to be something that you're going to have to figure out, especially according to how far in depth you get into the project management side of things. A lot of the times, the furthest that we'll go in project management, if you want to call it that, would be more of just going to site somewhere and checking on, getting pictures of the site or seeing how things are going, and maybe picking up an estimate here or there, using a tape measure or one of those laser tape measures. But that's normally like the most that you'll have to do on the project management side of things. But then you also have times where you get more into depth according to what company it is. So that is that one. And I would say The last one, I guess, would be just, talking to people on the phone and having to get used to that. Having to get used to talking to people over the phone and having to be sometimes frequently on a call, but I talk to people normally. I don't really necessarily have a problem talking to somebody in person, so it wasn't that big of a thing that I had to kind of get overdoing. But remembering to go to the phone versus an email, basically, because it's so easy to email somebody and so many more steps to either find their contact or type in their number, then call, and then they not know if they're going to answer and have to possibly leave a voicemail or whatever else. It's just, there's a lot more a lot more options and outcomes than if you just type something up and send it over to them. But another bonus problem that I'll go ahead and throw in here is not being able to have accountability among people when they would say things, especially over the phone. That's where a lot of people get themselves in trouble. They want to do everything over the phone so that you build a relationship, but whenever it comes to backing what someone said about something, you don't have anything to hold any weight. If you have an email chain, then you can say precisely what someone said per a specific date and, go from there. So, give and take, I guess, with everything else in life, but definitely it can help sometimes to be able to have something to backwards, basically. And we all know that, because we all know that part of what we do is write a proposal with inclusions and exclusions. We all deal with contracts, so contract specialist here, and knowing what goes into a contract, we know that we need to have our word back, or we'll have all kinds of nonsense going on the job site. So, all right, I think those are very good ones that you can take with you and maybe change some things around for yourself now that you know how I dealt with the things that I had to deal with throughout my estimating career. You can check the link in the description below, which is going to my website, which I have digital products on this same topic, as well as my number, which is my business number for consulting. I also plan to be putting together a course soon on estimating, and I don't necessarily have any details for you right now. I just more kind of wanted to let you all know, and I'll have a community basically around the course and estimating, and that specifically, that'll soon be put in the description for each video, basically, but you will be able to see that in the future. So thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you on the next